Okay, last time I talked about how to choose a theme, and I said you want to use simple theme, easy as possible, because we're going to fill the slide with an image anyways, so you don't need all that fancy stuff. So this time I want to go over how to find images, what to think about when you're choosing them, attribution, and how to turn them into the background for a slide. So let's start with where I go to find pictures that I can use. I use a site called Pixabay. I use it for a couple of reasons. One, it has a really large sample of images, 1.1 million they say. And second, the majority of what I find on here is what's called Creative Commons usage, which means that I'm allowed to use it without paying for it, and often without having to give extensive attribution or citation. It's still good to say where I got it, but it's not as critical as if I was doing an academic paper. So let's take a look at them first, and the things you need to look at. So let's pretend I'm making a presentation about presenting, which in a way I am. First thing you'll notice is this top bar that says sponsored image. These are images that come from a company called Shutterstock or some other video or image aggregator site, and you don't want to use these because they are all watermarked. You can see where it says Shutterstock in the middle of the picture. You don't want to use these for a couple of reasons. One, that watermark is ugly, and two, it says to your audience that you don't care really what you're presenting. Three, it says you don't really understand the idea of copyright. And every time you're doing a presentation, or especially if you're putting something online, and you can use these for, say, blog posts and so on, it says to them that you're not practicing good digital citizenship. So you don't want to do that. You want to always build the reputation as a good digital citizen. So the difference is in this. These ones are what's called CC0 Creative Commons. It means that you can use these images in a presentation or in a blog post. You don't have to give attribution, which means you don't have to provide a bibliographic reference. It's still good to do that, to say that your images come from Pixabay or from a particular user of Pixabay, but you don't have to do it. And that's a key thing, because when you can do this, when you know this, and you can stand by the idea that this is CC0, it means that you understand a concept called fair dealing or fair use in Canada, and that you are becoming familiar with copyright, and that's going to be an important thing as you move forward. So always look for this symbol or this comment beside each of the pictures. Now, how do I decide which to get the picture onto my presentation? Well, because I use a Mac, I use drag and drop features. I can just drag this onto my desktop, or I can enlarge it and then move it onto my desktop. I always do the latter. Let me show you why. I just dragged that picture onto the desktop without enlarging it, and it comes in at this 15,723 by 340. Whereas if I enlarge it, it comes in as 15,723, 960 by 720. And that's important, because when I move this one onto my slide deck, it's going to enlarge it, and right away you can see the pixelation forming around her hair and her face. This looks bad, especially when you magnify this up onto a presentation board. So if you go with this larger size, it will be a much cleaner image when you get around to posting it. It might be better still to download the image and see if that will give you an even stronger, clearer image. I found that enlarging first and then moving to my desktop is good enough. All right, so now we've got the image we want to use. I'm going to get rid of that one that's the wrong, that will pixelate. How do we turn that into the background for our presentation? All right, here we are with our nice simple slide. You can see I've added a second slide onto here. And it's important that you add a blank slide. That way there's going to be no distracting places for doing comparisons or putting other things onto the deck. Don't worry about where you're going to put your words. I'll cover that in another presentation. So we're just going to choose a blank presentation. I'm just keeping this first one as my title placeholder so that eventually I'll create a title slide for this, but I'll do that after I've done everything else. So how do I set the background for a slide or a picture as the background image? Now it's actually fairly simple. You're going to go to click on themes, and you're going to see over here theme options where it says background. You're going to click on that, and we're going to format the background. We're going to choose a picture. Choose the picture from my desktop, which is now only this one, brown, and I'm going to insert it. That's all you have to do. But if you click apply to all, this is now the background image for your entire slide deck. You don't want to do that. You just want to apply it to the one slide. So now when you look at this slide, you've got your background on it. Now you've got a nice, clean, crisp image. It's going to project well, and you can choose a number of different areas to put your text on. I'll come to choosing text and putting up where to locate it in the next presentation. So hope you have learned something about how to create a background image on a slide.